Allie was from the city. They met the night of the carnival. They had nothing in common, but after seeing Allie that night, something inside Noah snapped.
From the best-selling novel by Nicholas Sparks comes a story about what we long for, what we settle for, and who we're meant for. The Notebook.
Hi there lads, I hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel called Blast in the Past. And this time around I have a review of the film The Notebook from 2004, starring Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams.
Ryan Gosling, Rachel McAdams. The Notebook.
And I saw it yesterday for the first time ever, so I hope that you will enjoy my take on that. Buckle up, let's get a ball rolling, shall we?
What are you doing? Oh, wait, get the ball. I'm gonna ask you one more time.
First things first, apologies for me not being myself, my regular self at least, because today, well, it's a scorcher, so outside it's very hot, it's just scorching, and the temperatures are really high. Anyhow, so let's talk about The Notebook. Let's cut to the chase, shall we? I saw it yesterday for the first time ever. That was my first time watching, and actually I have to say that that was a very good one. And I like this kind of a drama and romance mixed together into one genre, and this is exactly what The Notebook is about and is like. So it's a very good gripping drama, and it is a longish one because it's almost 2 hours. However, the narrative, it's pretty complex. So it consists of two timelines. It's before and after. At the beginning of the narrative, it's set much later.
Enough, didn't they?
Yes, they did. I read to her, and she remembered.
And then there is a retrospection to the past. And later on there is another piece of that puzzle, that riddle, which takes place around 7 years later.
Why didn't you write me? I waited for you for 7 years.
I wrote you every day for a year.
So we could say that there are actually 3 timelines, and I'm not sure whether one of the timelines is supposed to be a plot twist. However, I saw that one coming at the very beginning, so to me it was not a surprise at all. However, maybe you will find it like a plot twist, you will consider it one, so I'm not gonna spoil anything to you mates and lads, so rest assured that I won't wreck the experience for you, the possible one at least, if you have never seen this film. Anyhow, so apart from that, there are no major plot twists, I suppose.
Like a dream.
So what do you do, Noah?
I work at the lumberyard.
How much do you make at your job?
40 cents an hour?
And this film, it's an adaptation of Nicholas Sparks' books. Probably this one was titled also The Notebook. And the film was a smash success at the box office because it cost around $29 million and it grossed worldwide around $118 million. So the result was fantastic, and it was directed by Nick Cassavetes, who did a great job at the helm of this project. And I know him only from I suppose one film, John Q, from 2001, and also later on he directed Alpha Dog, starring Justin Timberlake and Bruce Willis perhaps in one of the minor roles.
Come clean now, John. Come clean now.
I got it under control.
Nonetheless, I remember that John Q was a very gripping thriller, taking place mostly in one location.
Well, who am I speaking to?
John Q.
I assume since all the doors are locked, this is a hostage situation. Is that correct?
In a hospital, and that was really quite a ride, unpredictable and well directed and just gripping and keeping you at the edge of your seat until the very last moment of the film. However, let's come back to The Notebook, shall we?
My son is gonna bury me.
Take the shot.
I must admit that it did live up to the expectations, which were very high. So every now and then I enjoy this kind of a genre, and in this case, so there is a lot of romance, it is tearjerking, it is heartbreaking, but it's served very well, and it's just a pleasure of watching this relationship blooming against the odds, against all odds, we could say. And this is also very uplifting because it shows this everlasting love, how it can overcome all the obstacles, regardless of how hard they could seem. And even one moment of joy is worth all the effort which needs to be put into achieving that one redeeming moment.
Maybe we could get a car. We could go for a ride. We could get out of here and just go someplace. You want to?
I don't think so. Not tonight.
And I'm not gonna spoil anything about the story, but one moment later on, at the end almost of the finale, of the closure of the whole story, it's very heartbreaking. I didn't cry.
Why did you call me darling? I don't know you. What's going on here?
Although I like shedding a tear every now and then, as long as the material evokes those deeper emotions, but in this case I wasn't even close. However, I was taken by surprise with this narrative tool, we could say, this angle on the story. Like I said, very late into the narrative, into the development of the plot does it happen. However, when it does happen, it takes no prisoners in terms of the reaction of the audience. So props to the writer first of all, because his book, probably it was even much better than the film.
Trash! Trash! Not for you!
However, who am I to judge? I've never read the book, but I saw the film yesterday. It's definitely, hands down, a material, a film, a flick worth recommending and passing the good word about to everybody who is interested into this kind of genre. So it gets a high recommendation from myself, if it means anything. But I would like to think and hope that at the end of the day, it does.
Oh, geez, what a line.
And now, let's move on to the storyline, to the plot summary offered by Nick Reganas on the IMDb website, shall we? With almost religious devotion, Duke, a kind octogenarian inmate of a peaceful nursing home, reads daily a captivating story from the worn-out pages of his leather-bound notebook to a fellow female patient. To keep her company, Duke recounts the fascinating love affair between impecunious but poetic country boy Noah and Ali, an affluent city girl. And little by little, Duke unfolds a southern, lumber-scented summer romance beneath the tall trees of the late 1930s North Carolina. Indeed, it seems as if the silent manuscript possesses the unfathomable power to penetrate the opaque clouds that enclose the silver-haired dame. Slowly but surely, the enchanted lady becomes immersed in the strangely alluring fairy tale of the young ardent lovers' highs and lows. But nobody knows what tomorrow holds. Are all summer loves doomed to fail? And the question is, are they really? Well, you have to check it out on your own, check it by yourselves, if you have never seen The Notebook, which I highly recommend you to do. I really liked and appreciated the chemistry between the main leads, in this case Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, and their relationship is stretched over the period of 7 years with them in the leads. And really it works perfectly well, although I know that behind the scenes there was a little bit of a drama and controversy.
Go! I lost you once. I think I could do it again. If I thought it's what you really wanted.
Because Ryan Gosling apparently at the very beginning he wanted to exchange Rachel McAdams for a different actress because they didn't hit it off at the beginning. However, later on, when the director Nick Cassavetes brought them together and tried to have a reconciliation between them, it helped a lot to improve the working relationship, and not only the working one, to heal all the wounds if there had been any in the first place. And later on also they started a real life relationship off screen. Anyhow, the relationship between them works fantastically, perfectly, so you can believe that it might have happened. And there is a bit of a drama, and they come and go, there is a lot of conflict. Even in the narrative it's mentioned that they have conflicts every single day.
Why don't you just do it right now? Huh?
However, this is a staple of the relationship because at the end of the proverbial day, they are able to reconcile the differences, and it works only because of the fact that they are madly in love with each other. And this is an everlasting kind of love which lasts forever. I also loved the idea of stretching the narrative into 3 different planes. So we have the 2 main ones, 2 main timelines, which takes place when the characters are young, and the second one 7 years later. And a fun fact is that the first one, which appears chronologically first in the film, was shot later, and actually this 7 years later part was shot as the first one, when even the main leads were not so synchronized together, and Ryan Gosling played a heavier, older, bearded version of himself, and later on, after a Christmas break, did he finally have a chance to lose some weight, to get in a slimmer shape, and to get rid of the beard, which he sports in this 7 years later part.
You're bored and you know it. You wouldn't be here if there wasn't something missing.
Arrogant son of a bitch!
And right now on the screen you can see this iconic moment, this iconic scene in which the protagonists are about to kiss in rain, in full rain, as you can obviously see, and this particular moment is featured on the covers, on the promo materials of the film, because this is one of those memorable moments which you never forget, and I'm not surprised that they decided to use it to promote the film, to endorse the film, and it works fantastically, doesn't it? It's a typical romance, and it's just one of those scenes which you will remember the film for, that's for sure.
Still isn't over.
And yet another interesting element is setting the story also in that old folk home, which is featured in here. So that was an interesting take on the story, and the main male lead, played by James Garner, narrates the story from a notebook to an elderly lady who suffers from Alzheimer's, played by Gina Rowland, who is the director's mother, Nick Cassavetes' mother, in real life. And this is also very interesting because this story featured in the titular notebook is somewhat related to them also, but I'm not sure whether it's a spoiler or not, but I saw it coming at the very beginning of the film because, come on, I'm a seasoned cinema lover, so I've seen numerous films, and this one is from 2004 also, so we could say that it is kind of a dated, so to me it was no surprise. However, nonetheless, without any spoilers, I would say that it adds to the complexity of the story, and it makes it even more interesting.
What happened to me?
Nothing. You just went away for a little while.
And actually the gripping moment, the most tear-jerking moment of the story, which I've already mentioned, takes place with the older characters, and this is really fantastic how well it works. And generally the cast, the acting, they were selected perfectly, spot on. That was a spot on choice. Although many actors and actresses were considered for the roles, I think that the picks at the end of the day were just fine, just perfect, and I wouldn't replace anybody from the cast for anybody else, and I think that this is the best closing comment in terms of this aspect of the film.
You don't look at Daddy the way I look at Noah. You don't touch or laugh, you don't play, you don't know anything about love.
And now a fun fact. Actually, this scene, this moment, featured on the screen in a second, so it was a complete fluke. Because as you will clearly see in a second, the main female lead, she gets into a car and she wants to drive off, she wants to leave because she thinks that this is a mistake, this encounter after many years, and she wrecks a fence, as you can clearly see, right? So this was a complete fluke. It happened by accident. It wasn't in the script. However, it worked so well that the director decided to keep it. And it's for the better, you see. Sometimes nice things happen by complete accident. And that was just a coincidence, a mistake. However, it stayed in the film. Obviously, this is a DVD release, and what am I supposed to say about the picture quality? It's not the best I've seen on the format, it's not the worst, it's just mediocre. At the beginning, of course, especially when you are used to the Blu-ray quality, and not to mention even the 4K one, which I haven't seen ever, but I've seen Blu-rays, which are on a par with 4K releases. So to me that was a little bit of a disaster, at the very beginning at least. Because when you see that the details are blurred, not everything is sharp and crisp, and it leaves much to be desired, then it's a little bit heartbreaking. However, once you get succumbed into the narrative, into the plot, into its development, it just stops matter at all. And actually I like the release because it's this special edition of The Notebook, and apparently, so this is like the cinema in love, or I don't know what the best translation of that would be, but I like this slipcover because it creates this sleek appearance of the edition. And also the iconic moment of the film, it's here, and also in here, the same scene. So this is very nice, it looks great if you put it on your shelf, so I think that generally it's worth having in your collection. Of course, I would much prefer a Blu-ray release, and I remember again I was very close to getting it, the UK one, but I didn't. I decided to just go with the usual regular DVD quality, and that was for the better, because I think that this is one of those films which you just have to see. Back in the day it was a smash success, it was critically acclaimed, even now it is held in high esteem by critics and the audience alike. So this is one of the recommendations why, if you consider yourself a true cinema lover, you should just tick it off your bucket list if you have any. And that's what I did, and I'm glad that I saw that film yesterday, regardless of the format.
You're good.
No.
You're good.
No, you're getting me wrong.
You're fantastic. You really are.
Although, for a DVD release, I've seen worse, I've seen better as well, so it is quite okay. No bigger complaints, just the limitations of the format itself. I also like the setting, and thanks to the directory of Nick Cassavetes, it's presented in a spectacular way. All the cars from the 1930s at the beginning of the narrative chronologically, and you can see the attention paid to the details, all the entourage, the costumes, the buildings, how that decade was recreated in order to create that magic of the 1930s. It is thanks to the work of the director, but also the whole crew. So this is great. Props to Nick Cassavetes, and also props to the composer of the music, because the musical score of the film, it adds another layer to the charm, to the emotional value of the film. So all the elements typical of a good cinematography, of a good film, are featured in The Notebook. And that's why the film works very well, because the script is one thing, but also how it's put together and shown on the screen, it's another one. And all the elements, thankfully, are there, and they are served, they are executed at the best level possible. This is great, this is fantastic, and this is exactly why I love this film so much when I saw it yesterday.
You're not so cocky now, are you?
I'm gonna get you, Fred.
As always, thank you very much for your attention. I hope that you have enjoyed this short review of The Notebook. If you have liked it, please give the video the thumbs up, share the comments on The Notebook from 2004 with me in the comment section below under this video, also on the performances of Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, maybe on the book itself, why not, and also on my review, my take on it, if you feel like it. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing to it, and I hope to see you guys later. Take care, mates and lads, and I will catch you up next time. Cheers, bye.
I'm so sorry. I don't even know what to say. I'm humiliated.